This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So now my PPT is clear, sir.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Oh, okay. In the last day's session, you have discussed about the concept of neural network, right? So what are the parameters and what are the hyperparameters are needed? So everything we have discussed in the last day session, right? And I also have implemented in Keras also. So how to use neural network in using Keras. So that is also we have discussed in the last day session. And I also have implemented based on the diabetes data set, right? So how many layers are needed and how many hidden layers and nodes, output layer, activation function. So everything we have completely discussed in the last session, right? Now in the today's session, you are going to implement for image data set in neural network, right? So actually, what is the difference between these two data sets? Last day session, we have handled only a categorical type of variables or ordinal type or numerical. So just it's a data type only have analyzed in this data set. But now here today, you're going to discuss how you're going to handle your image, okay, in neural network, because it is a totally entirely different concept. Because see, because your image contains a lot of pixels, so not only a small amount of data. Here your image contains a lot of pixels. So how your network handles such kind of pixels, right? So that is a total thing you're going to discuss today. And today topic is first you handle your image data set in traditional network, and next what is convolution network, and please participants mute your mic. And then next thing you are going to discuss convolution neural network. So what is convolution neural network, and what is the principle of convolution neural network, and how you are applying a image data set in convolution neural network. Then you are going to compare the convolution neural network with your traditional neural network. So what is the difference and how the accuracy is increased in convolution neural network. So these are the topics you are going to discuss today now, actually. Okay. So now come to the today topic. Now you're handling a data set. So what is the data set you are going to handle today? Fashion MNICT image data set. Actually, this data set here, it's actually the data set, it is in your user repository. So you can easily download from the web. Okay. What is in this data set? Actually, this data set contains 70,000 images, not just one or two images. It contains totally 70,000 images, right? And each image size is 28 into 28. That means the size of the image is 28 rows and 28 columns. Okay, imagine here you have a 28 rows and 28 columns. So that is the size of a single image. And this image is a scale of grayscale. So grayscale image, the pixel values are ranging from 0 to 255. Okay, so the pixel values are ranging from 0 to 255. And now what actually these images are doing? So actually the images contains the different types of dresses, okay, and different types of shoes and bags. So totally you have a 9 class labels. So 9 class labels means here tops, trousers, and sandals, ankle boot. So you have a 9 different types of class labels. So what is your problem here? Here you are going to analyze your image and you have to recognize the image, what type it is. Okay, so that is the thing you're going to discuss in this data set. So now, so please anyone answer, how many layers are needed? How many? Just here I'm not discuss about the hidden layer, right? So first of all, you have to know how many input neurons are needed for this image and how many output neurons are needed. So please anyone answer here. Anyone answer for my question? How many input neurons and how many output neurons? 9 output is right. And 9 output is right. but the input is wrong. No one give the correct input values. Okay, now I tell you. So how many input neurons are needed? Okay, so now see here. This is the answer for my question. See here, you have an input layers 28 into 28. So 28 into 28 is what? So totally you have a 28 into 28 means 576. So 576 pixels in your image. So each pixel is a neuron. Each pixel is a neuron. So you have to give the total 576 pixels to your neuron structure. So here 576 input neurons are needed. So what is the total number of neurons in input layer here? 576.
Ma'am, screen not visible.
Screen is not visible. I think you have in a presenter mode. So any of you have the same problem?
It's not visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's went off. Can you share again, ma'am?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So you please make it as a presenter. Yeah, now again I will share you.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm sharing now.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So now I'm changing to a presenting mode. I think something. Sorry. Actually, what's problem today? My screen is visible to you? Yes, there was some problem of my PPT. Yeah. It's not changing a presenting mode. That's a problem actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Now it is visible. Okay. See here, how many input neurons are needed here? What I'm saying here, 784, because 28 into 28, you're getting 784, right? So that 784 pixels you're going to give for an input neurons in the input layer. Okay. I think all of you clear with this? Next, you're going to classify for 10 different types of items. Okay, see here the list which is present in the table. 0 represent t-shirt, 1 represent trouser, 2 pullover, and like this. So you have a collection of dress items and the collection of chapel items and collection of bag items. So you have a different categories of items present in this data set. So now what is the problem here? You have to identify the type of item. So you have to train your machine. So what type of item you are going to select. So this is a way you're going to do in a neural network, right? And same thing, hidden nodes. Let us say we discussed in the last session, how to fix a hidden layer. So you have a thumb rules and you have some mechanism, right? So based on that, you have to select 128 hidden nodes. And now activation function. So I already told what is ReLU. So ReLU, it's for hidden layer, right? And now see here, softmax. Softmax for output layer. Already told in the previous session what is softmax. So softmax is nothing but it's a kind of one hot encoding. So for each class you have a certain bits. Suppose you have a 4 classes. 4 classes means 001. It's for first class. 0010 for second class. 0100 for third class. So you are going to assign the class for a certain bit patterns. So that is a thing. So softmax, it's a one of the activation function you're going to apply for output layer. Okay. And next come to the LAS. So LAS here, see here, you have a 3 categories in LAS, right? One is regression, and another one is binary entropy. So in the last example, you have seen a binary entropy because you have only two classes, whether the person has a diabetes or not. So just you have only two classes, right? So that you, in the previous problem, you have used binary entropy. But in this problem, you have a 9 different classes. So 9 different classes means what is your last category here? You are using a sparse categorical cross entropy. Okay, because you are having a 9 different types of items. It is a categorical item, so that the last category comes under this category. And optimizer, already I have said, Adam, it's a adaptive learning rate. And metrics, you are going to discuss accuracy, right? So I think you have understand the concept of data set, right? So now you come to the implementation. So you move on to your Keras. And before that, you just see the folder, how your data set. See here, in Keras, you have a data set folder. So this is a folder for the fashion MNIST. Okay, but actually in the previous one, Diabete, it's only a single CSV file. So because you have only columns, and so that it's enough. But in images, you are going to store in a different format, right? Why it is? Now it comes in the category of 3:1 ratio. Now we are going to train your data in the ratio of 3:1. So 3:1 ratio means 3%, that is 75% of images you are going to choose for training, and 25% you are going to choose for testing. Okay, so here I'm selecting 75% in a one single compressed file. See here you have 4 files. First you take the last file, train labels. Okay, train labels means first you see the third file, train images. So the training images here, it's in a one separate file. Okay, and the training labels, training the answer. So the answer for the image. Okay, so in totally how many images? You have a 70,000 images, right? In this 70,000 images, you are selecting 60,000 for training, right? 3:1 ratio. I said 3:1 ratio. So 60,000 for training and 10,000 for testing. Okay, I'm going to separate in a two different data sets. One set 3:1, so 60,000 for training and 10,000 for testing. So in that 60,000 images are stored in the third file, train images. It's a compressed one, and the last one, the each image answer. So in a training stage, you have to give the question as well as answer, right? So the file contains the images alone and the last labels. So what image it is? Okay, so that answers, it's in the fourth file, train labels. Okay, and now come to the test. Similar thing, you have a test images and test labels. So the test images, how many here? 10,000. So that 10,000 images you have stored in the first file, and the respective answers are stored in the second file, 10,000 labels. Okay, so now this is the way you have to store your image, then only you can go for training and testing. Okay, so now the images are separated with the image and the labels. I think you have understand the folder. Next, come to the program. See here, first of all, you have to import the TensorFlow and Keras. Just you are displaying the version of TensorFlow. So, okay. So here, what is the version here? 2.1. It's a version for TensorFlow, right? Now you come to that. So here I'm not giving a total program. So stepwise, here I'm giving a stepwise program, and in that immediately it show the answer, so that it's a stepwise. Each cell contains a steps. Okay. So in the first cell, what I'm having here, fashion MNICT equal to keras.data sets of fashion MNICT. So you are first you are loading your data set, right? So you are taking a fashion MNICT from the Keras folder, and then you have assigned into a fashion MNICT. Okay, see here, the next step, it's an important one thing. You are loading a data set. So loading a data set contains four files, right? The first file is assigned to a train images, and the second file assigned to the train labels, and the third file assigned to the test images, and the fourth file assigned to the test labels. Now you understand the concept. The 60,000 images stored in a train images, and the respective labels, that is the answers, stored in a train label, and the testing 10,000 images stored in the text images, and the answers are stored in the test labels. So now you have a 4 different categories, right? Okay, images are ready. Next, come to the class names. So why I'm giving a class name? Because in the original data set, you have only the numbers of the classes, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 9. So you have the only numbers you have stored in your original data set. But I want to know the item name, right? So here I'm assigning a class names for each item. So what is the first one? T-shirt top. It belongs to the first item, that is 0. And trouser for the second item, and pullover for the third item. So here I am assigning the names for 9 items in the class labels, for the class labels, right? So that is in the next cell. And come to the next one, train images dot shape. So I want to know the size of my train image. So just you type it. What is your answer here? 60,000, because your train size is 60,000, right? And what is the shape of each image? 28, 28. So imagine how many values you have stored. 28 into 28 into 60,000. So much of pixels you have stored in your database just for 28 pixels. That is the reason your image occupies much of space in your system. Okay. So how many pixels here? 60,000 into 28 into 28. So that is your train images shape. Okay. Next, come to the length of train labels, right? What is the length of train labels? You have 60,000. So you have a 60,000 labels, right? So that is in your length of train labels. Next. And what is the answer for the label? So see here, it is an array, right? The first answer is 9. So 9 means what item it is? In the 9th one, see the PPT. The 9th item is ankle boot. So your first item is the ankle boot. Okay, so it's a kind of shoes. So first item is the ankle boot, and 0 it represents a t-shirt, right? So similarly, that the first item it's an ankle boot, second item is a t-shirt, and third item. So the respective labels you have stored in the training labels. Okay, so that is an answer for the next one. And next, I want to know the size of my test images. See here, print test images dot shape. So now what is answer here? 10,000. You have selected 10,000 for testing your images. And what is the size of the image? The same 28 into 28, right? And the labels, how many labels? Same, because you have 10,000 images, you have a 10,000 labels, right? So that is in the next thing. And next, just I want to print one image. Okay. So that image I'm going to display in a plot. That is, using plot, you are going to display your image. So here plot is nothing but plot dot figure. So plot nala you have a x-axis and y-axis, right? So now you plot a figure. What is your image you are going to display? First image. So first image means train images of 0. So 0 represents first image. So im show train images of 0. I already told what is the first answer train label? 9. So 9 is the ankle boot. See here, the first picture is your ankle boot. Okay, so that image you are going to print in this plot. And color bar. See here, color bar, I want some display in a color, but actually it is not a original color because your pixels are ranges from 0 to 255. It is not a color, but you are displaying in a color bar so that it does not look well. Okay. And grid, you know that the image you have a grid. Suppose I don't want a grid means you make it as a false. And plot dot show. So here I'm displaying a first image in your data set. Okay. Next, I want to display a set of images. Or 10, how many images? 25 images. I want to print a 25 images in a single plot, right? So you select the figure size is 10, 10. So each figure size is 10, 10. And I'm going to display 25 images. So here I'm putting in a for loop, right? and each figure is a subplot. Okay, each figure is a subplot. So at each subplot, you are going to display one image, right? So the x-text is nothing but the x label and y-text is nothing but the y label. Okay, and see here, first you see the output. Here I have printed 25 images, right? See, ankle boot, t-shirt, t-shirt top, dress, t-shirt tops, pullover, sneakers, pullover, sandals. So you are printing a 25 images. But see, the answer is also printed. What is the first image? Ankle boot. But originally it is stored as a 0. T-shirt is stored in the label 1. T-shirt top is stored in the label 1. And dress in some other class label. So you are originally it is stored in the number. But in your plot, you are displaying the respective class name. How it is printed? See here, this is a way. Your X label, it's a class names of training labels of I. So what is your train label of I? 0. The 0 of class name. So what is your class name of 0? Here you have given in the first step. See, I have given a class name, right? So what is the class name of 0? T-shirt. So that in the x-axis, it print the name. Otherwise, it will print the 0, right? I don't want a 0. I want the name of the type of item. So here I'm assigning the class names of train labels of I. So now the respective item name is printed in the figure. Okay. So this is a way you have to fetch over your data. Okay. Here, now only I'm entering in my network. So here we have analyzed your data set. In the previous steps, you have analyzed your data set. Now only I'm going to train my network, because your network, you should train properly. Otherwise, your network never answer your question, right? So first I have to create my network. So in the previous session, I have told you need a sequential class. Based on the sequential class, you have to add a layers. Flatten, I'll tell you what is flatten. The respective, because CNN, I'll clearly explain what is flatten, right? And flatten input shape of 28, 28. What is your input items? 28, 28. That is your input layer. Okay. Now come to the dense 128. What is your 128? 128, it's your hidden layer. And what is the activation function you are used in hidden layer? Prelude layer, right? And next layer is what? Dense of 10. So what is your dense of 10? It is your output layer, because you are going to classify 10 items. Now you understand the network structure, right? Now network is created. Okay. Again, use the optimizer. So what is optimizer? You have to select. Adam is for learning rate, and categorical cross entropy for loss, right? And matrix, it's your accuracy. So this is a three optimizers you are using for your network. And you train your model. So train your model contains what? Your X, your Y, and epochs. So in the previous data set, you just verify it. You have a X and your Y and your epochs. So X is nothing but your train images, and Y is nothing but the answer, that is the image item name and image item class, and epochs is a iteration cycle. So now see here, you have 10 epochs, right? At each epoch, it verify the 60,000 images. Verify the 60,000 images, and you have the last. Please participants, mute your mic. So here your loss is 4.47 and your accuracy is 0.6975, right? Next, see the second loss, it is decreasing. So it is a stochastic gradient descent. So 4.47 is now it is decreased, suddenly decreased into 9.9850, and still it is decreased. See here, your loss is in the decreasing iterative procedure. And what is accuracy? Accuracy is increased at each iteration. So first your accuracy is only 6.6975. Next, it's increased to 6982. So see on, your accuracy is increased in the training stage. Okay. So now my network is well trained. Okay. Training part is over. 60,000 images are trained. So what is the end result of training? You are receiving an optimized weights. So that is the end result of training. Your network has an optimized weights, because this weights only you can test for your image, right? So now come to the testing. So how many images you are going to test? 10,000 images you are going to test. See here the test images and the labels. It verify with the label, then only it will predict. Okay. So what is accuracy of testing? Your loss is 0.6761 and your accuracy is 0.7687. So this is your final end of test accuracy. So what is your accuracy of your model here? Only 76% of your accuracy, right? So this is a way you have to give a input images for your neural network. I hope everyone you understand. The important thing is the size of the input layer, because each image is a different size. The size is nothing but the number of pixels. Okay, so every pixel has a neuron. So that is the thing. I hope everyone understand. So please put in the chat yes or no. Then only you can move it to the CNN. Okay, thank you. And now come to the today actual session. CNN. Okay. Okay. Today topic is CNN. See here. Actually, why CNN? Till now we have discussed only a shallow learning, that is traditional learning model. Actually, it is not a deep learning. Not a deep learning. Now only we are entering a deep learning, right? Because deep learning, it's a derived one. Already, as I told earlier, deep learning, it's a derived one from your artificial neural network, right? So deep learning is nothing but it's a collection of architectures, recent architectures, like CNN, recurrent neural network, and you have seen a lot of architectures in the previous session. I have said, right? So now, why you are entering into a deep learning? So I said two reasons. One is you have an enormous volume of data, right? That is the main reason. You have a large volume of data and have a different types of data. So not only a text information, you have a graphics information, you have a sound information, you have a frequency information. So a lot of different types of data you're going to handle in a real-time situation. Okay, so that is the first thing. And the second thing is, here you have an automatic feature extraction. Automatic feature extraction in sense. So actually in the traditional, manually you have to feed the features. Then only your network analyze the feature and classify your data depending upon the respective classes. Okay, so that is a drawback. So it is the programmer, it's the main responsibility in the traditional network. So you only select the features. So feature separation is a separate part in a traditional neural network. But in a deep learning, in convolution model, your network recognize the features automatically, then it is fed into the neural network and make it as a classification. So that is the main difference in deep learning. Now actually we are entering into the deep learning, right? So always you see shallow fry, it's better, deep fry is better than shallow fry because it gives a good taste, right? So here also your deep learning gives a better accuracy than your traditional learning, right? The same concept you are going to apply. See how CNN works, right? What is CNN? CNN is nothing but it is a convolutional neural network. It's mainly used in computer vision task. It's mainly used in computer vision task. So it also has the same set of layers like your traditional input layer, output layer, hidden layers. But in hidden layers, you have a convolutional type of hidden layers. And convolutional type means it is a dense of layers, right? It's a twist of layers. So you are going to twist your layers. That is, you are going to give a pool of layers. So that comes under convolution learning model. That is the main difference is here is only your hidden layers. Okay, other rest of the things are common. Only which one is the difference in a convolutional hidden layer? It's a difference in a convolutional layer. Okay, and see the same thing, same parameters, weights, bias, forward task, backward task, and then neurons. So everything you're going to same for a convolutional type. And hyperparameters. Hyperparameters you have discussed learning rate, number of hidden layers, epochs, right? And momentum factor. So everything you're going to use in a convolutional layer, right? But additionally, you're going to use some hyperparameters in CNN. So later we will discuss what are the hyperparameters. So I already told CNN extract the features automatically. Extracts the features automatically and recognize the images based on the network training. Okay, so this is the way you have to proceed in a CNN, and CNN is mainly for computer vision task. Okay, so before, what is computer vision task? I'll tell you later. Now see how the images are stored in the system. See here you have a one image, right? Each image, what is the size of the image here? 1080 into 1080. Okay, 1080 into 1080. 1080 into 1080 means the number of pixels in the rows and the number of, it is the size of the image, right? The size represent the number of pixels. Okay, so you have 1080 pixels in each row and 1080 pixels in each column. Now see, what is the type of the image here? You have three categories of images. I think you know everybody. One is a binary image. Binary image means 0 or 1. So it looks like a black and white image, right? So the pixel value is either 0 or 1. Suppose if your image is a grayscale image. Grayscale image means the pixel values are ranging from 0 to 255. So you have only one two-dimensional matrix. So because this picture is a grayscale picture, see here the color of the pixel ranges from white to black. So in between you have some grayscale values, right? So what is the pixel values? It is from 0 to 255 for grayscale image. No, my image is a color image. So color image means you have a true color image. It's an RGB image. So how the RGB image is stored in your system? You have three matrices, right? Three matrices. One for red matrix and another one for green matrix and another one for blue matrix. Okay. Suppose you have one pixel. Actually, these three color combines and get a new color, right? So only the basic color RGB, the value of the pixel combines and it will produce a one color, right? So in true color image, it is stored how many matrices here? You have three matrices. One for matrix for red and another two-dimensional matrix for green and another two-dimensional matrix for blue. So now see, suppose if the image is a color, what is the original size? 1080 into 1080 into 3. So you multiply that. That is the total number of pixels for RGB image, right? So the images are the numbers, and in that numbers only you're going to store in your system. Okay. Now come to the vision task. So what is computer vision task? See here, the phase identification is one of the vision tasks. Detection, it is one of the vision tasks. Semantic segmentation, it's a vision task, right? And automatic car review. So these are all the car self-driving. So that comes under everything. It's object detection that comes under a vision task, right? So here one example is given. Here you are going to identify the face. Okay. In my data set, I have a collection of US presidents' faces, right? So here I'm going to recognize whose face it is. So that is my task in this problem. So here see, one image face is given. You're going to analyze in your network. Finally, your network provides the output of probability values. So what are the four different types of presidents in my data set? Lincoln, Washington, Jefferson, and Obama, right? So which probability gives more here? Lincoln. So whose image it is actually? It is a Lincoln image because it gives a more probability value. Your network gives a more probability value for Lincoln. So this image, it's a Lincoln image. So this is the way you have to identify your face. Okay. And this is one of the example for vision task. Okay. How it identifies it is a Lincoln face. In what technique it is applying. So this technique, we call it as a face recognition. Okay. So based on the features, you are going to recognize your face. So what features it will recognize? Your facial features, like your eyes, nose, mouth, and everything, and the textures, right? So based on the features only, it will identify the person. So your CNN, so these are all the features you are going to give an input. Then only it will find the respective person name. Okay. See here, how the features are extracted in the CNN. CNN is also a type of network. See in this picture, you have a type of layers. First layer is the input layer, and you have a 2 hidden layers and 1 output layer. But the input and output is similar to your traditional. But the hidden layers, here it will extract the features. Okay, so what features they have extracted? It's your facial features. Okay, this facial features comes under 2 categories. One is low level features and another one is a mid level features. So low level features means actually I have to identify the nose, ear, mouth and everything, right? So I can't able to exactly, not able to get mouth, nose and ear, because you want to, first of all, you have to get the shape. Shape in sense, first you have to get the line. The line, it may be in a different type. It may be a standing line. It may be a left slanting line, right slanting line. Okay. So the lines may be in a different format. And suppose you see in a circle shape, it may be in a oval, it may be in a rectangle. So you have a different set of features. So that features, we call it as a low level. So first of all, you have to collect the low level features. Low level features is nothing but your lines, curves and everything. Okay. So the first level, I have extracted the low level features. Right. Next. Then you give the input for the another layer. This low level features I'm going to combine, and then I can get the exact features. That is the shape of the eye. Okay. And then the shape of the nose, and then shape of the eyebrow. So all the low level features here you are going to combine, and then you can get the mid level features. See here, the picture shows the shape of the eye, nose and everything. So that is in another hidden layer. So the first hidden layer, it performs what type of operation? It performs low level operation. And your second hidden layer performs what operation here? It extracts the mid level features. Okay, now the shape of nose, ear and everything, it is extracted from your data. Now what is the last one thing? Your model should recognize a face, whose nose it is, whose mouth it is. Okay, so based on that features, it will categorize your image. So that comes under your output layer. That is your classification layer. See here, so this is a way your CNN works. So your hidden layer performs your feature extraction. So that is the important thing. Your hidden layer performs a feature extraction. In the feature extraction, you have a 2 hidden layers. So I'm going to place 2 hidden layers. So in the first hidden layer, I'm extracting a low level features. In the second hidden layer, I'm going to extract the mid level features. So after feature extraction, now I'm having a feature map. Okay. From that feature map, I'm going to recognize a face. So this is a concept of CNN, right? Okay. So now come to that. How it performs the extract the low level and middle level features. Actually, for CNN,
is that product digital so nothing but optimizing the product. And it's
please participants mute your mic. So now see that. For CNN, you have to know some image processing operations. So without knowing image processing operations, you cannot able to work CNN network. So you have to understand the concept of image processing applications and operations, right? So here I'm going to use two different operations in CNN. One is convolution. Actually, the convolution, it is an image operation. Some of you know that because it can handle image processing paper and everything, you know that convolution, it's a type of operation in an image, right? So convolution, it's a one component, and another component is a pooling. So you're going to perform these two components in CNN network. That these are the two main operations. Okay. So first come to the convolution operation. What is convolution? What is the main difference in this traditional and CNN? See here, in traditional, you have a fully connected network. Fully connected network means, see this picture, you have a some 15 into 15 size of the image, right? In traditional, suppose you imagine you are in a traditional means, you have to give all the 15 into 15 what 255. So 255 pixels you are going to give for the next neuron in the hidden layer. So you have to give the global inputs. You have to give the all input pixels to the next layer. So that is the problem in a fully connected network. So for each neuron in a hidden layer, you have to give the 255 pixels. But in this CNN, you are going to give only a patch of pixels. Patch of pixels only you are going to give for a hidden layer network. So that is a main difference. So here the patch is nothing but the spatial features. So you are not giving a global input. You are not giving a total 255 pixels to your next neuron. Just you are giving only a patch of pixels. So patch of pixels only you are going to give for a next neuron. That patch we call it as a spatial structure. So that is the main difference. See here, the global patterns in dense network. Dense network is your traditional network, gives global patterns in a global input space. But the convolution layer learns local patterns or spatial features in small windows of 2 dimensions. So that is a main difference in traditional and densely, because this is a main basic concept here. So you're going to give a patch. See here in this example, I'm not giving a 255 pixels for next neurons. I'm going to give only a 4 cross 4. So 16 pixels only I'm going to give for a next neuron. Okay. So that is your spatial structure. Okay. So now come to that convolution. So as I told earlier, first convolution, you're going to imagine your network has 2 hidden layers. Your network has 2 hidden layers. So the first convolution layer perform the basic feature extraction, that is edges, lines, and shapes. And the second hidden layer, that is your convolutional layer, perform the mid-level features. Okay, perform the mid-level features. And finally, the third layer, that is your output layer, it's efficiently learn the features and make it for classification. So this is a convolution part. Okay. Now come to the hyperparameters. So before you are discussing about the layer, what hyperparameters are needed? Okay. The same parameters are needed for your CNN network also. But you need some additional parameters. So what are the additional parameters? The size of the window, filter window. I think you have studied in a filter concepts in image processing, right? So the same thing you're going to apply in CNN. So size of the filter and how many filters you have used, the number of filters, that is the next hyperparameter. And the third one is a stride, and fourth one is a padding. So these are the additional hyperparameters. Now you discuss one by one in detail. Now come to the filter window size. So first of all, you know what is filter. What is a filter here? The filter is nothing but it's a matrix. It's a small matrix, either 3 cross 3 or 5 cross 5 or 7 cross 7, whatever it is. It's a small window size that we call it as a window. Okay, it's a small matrix. So this filter you're going to apply, or you're going to put a mask for your image. You apply a mask in the original image, and finally you can get a new matrix. So that is the concept of filtering, right? I'm not saying about what is filtering. Just how filtering you are going to apply. Original image, it's a 5 cross 5 image, right? And your filter size is 3 cross 3. Now you combine these two, and finally you can get a 4x4 matrix. So here what happens, your original size is reduced. Okay, your original image size is reduced. Then actually what it contains, it contains the feature of an image. It contains that 4x4, it's a feature. Okay, so that is the main thing. Filter, it's mainly for extracting the features from the image. Okay, see here, you can use a 3x3 filter or 5x5. And how many filters you can use? Actually, usually in CNN, you have used 32 filters or 64 filters. So both you can use either 32 or 64, or it's a user defined. You can give any number of filters. That is not an issue. Okay. So mainly the CNN performs in 32 and 64. Okay. Now see here how the convolution operation performs. See, it's an example of 5x5 image, and your filter size is 3x3, right? Now you apply a filter in the original image. So 1 into 1, you can get 1, right? 1 into 0, 0. 1 into 1, 1. 0 into 0, 0. 1 into 1. So finally you add everything. What do you get? 4. So that is your feature map. Okay. See here. Next, what you have to do? Just you place a filter in the next row. You place a filter in the next row. So you have to move the filter row wise, row by row. You have to move the filter row by row and column by column, right? So now you have to shift your filter first column wise. So you apply the filter, and what you get finally? 3. So that is in a feature map. Next. So similarly, you have to apply your filters in your entire image. Totally you have getting a feature map. Okay. So this is a process of filtering, right? I understand the filtering process. Why you are applying a filter? My question is why you are applying a filter. Okay. So now see the final output. It is a 5x5 image. So you're applying a filter. So now see here, first A, second B, third C, and fourth D, E, F, G, H. So you finally evaluate and you can get the total feature map. Okay. So that is in the example is representing. Okay. So now see, why filter? Why you are using filter in image? See here, I'm taking an X. Okay. So in my data, in my picture, I have an X character. So I have to recognize whether it is X or not. Okay. So how can I identify the character is X or not? What is the special feature for X? So what are the special feature for X? One is, see here. So now here I'm selecting a 3 features. One is what? The crossed line. It is a one feature. That is a left side cross. And the second feature is what? The right side cross, right? And the third feature is what? The middle rectangle. So these are the 3 main features to recognize your character X. So how many filters are needed here to recognize your X? I need 3 filters. You understand why you are using filter? So how many, why the filters are necessary? The filters are extracting the feature. So I want to recognize a character X. So X needs how many filters? The left side, the right side, and the rectangle. So now you combined all the 3. Combine all the 3. If all the 3 is satisfied, means that character is an X. If any one is missing, so definitely it is not a character of X. So this is the way you have to identify your feature. See, so this example. So similar way, you think it of it. For a shape, nose. So first of all, you have to nose. Nose means first you extract a line feature. Extract a line feature. Okay. Immediately you want a 2 circle features, right? So if this criteria is satisfied, definitely that particular feature is a nose. But I want to recognize the entire face. So recognize the entire face. So the face contains a lot of features, not only the nose. You have an eye, you have an ear. Okay. Sometimes the ear is covered with hair. So I can't able to analyze the with the what you have to do. So you have to go for another probabilities. So you have definitely you have an eye feature, you have a nose feature, and you have a mouth feature. So based on that features, you can recognize the face. So this is the way you have to proceed, right? So that is the reason for giving a more number of filters for recognizing your data, for recognizing your object. Okay. And so this example. So how the convolution is performed. So that example is also given here. So now come to that padding. You know what is padding? Okay. What is meant by padding? So padding is nothing but see, first you have a 5x5 image. After applying your filter, you are getting only a 4x4 image. So now what happened? Your image is shrink, right? But I want to keep the original size of my image. So, but it will affect the pixel. Suppose I'm going to put the pixel means it will totally affect your image. So what I have to do here? Here I have to fill the zeros. So that is a concept of padding. So padding is nothing but I want to keep the original size of the image. But after applying a convolution, my image size is reduced. So now what I have to do? You have to fill the zeros in the empty spaces because this will not affect your image. So this concept we call it as a padding. Okay. But sometimes padding is not necessary. It's not a problem. The shrinking size is better. So I can keep the shrinking size as it is. I don't want the original size. So that also you can do. So in that situation, you have to give the padding same. So padding same means you keep the shrinking size of the image. Okay. So that is a padding concept. You are filling a zeros in case if you want a original size. So that is a concept of padding. And next come to the stride. What is stride here? Stride is nothing but in filter, what you are doing, row by row and column by column, you are applying a filtering, right? So stride is nothing but when you have put in the previous one, your stride value is 1 because first row you are applying a filter. Immediately, the next time you're applying for the second row and next time you're applying for the third row. So one by one you are applying your filter. But I don't want as a row by row. I want skip a second row, right? So in that time, you have to give the stride value 2. See here the same image with the stride value 2. See what is the output of your filter. First, it will take 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, right? But next, it will not take 2, 7, 8, 12. So that matters. It's not here. See, please here because 3, 8, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, and 15. Because here your stride value is 2. Why you have that option? Because that feature is not necessary for me. So that I'm skipping that row. So in that way also you can proceed, right? But in the previous example, the stride is 1. Okay. So it is also one of the hyperparameter. Next, it is the most important operation. Okay. So you have seen what is filter and what is the size of the filter. Why the size of the filter is necessary. Why you are using 32, 64, I have said. In neural network, you have to give 32 filters, 64 filters. What is the reason, right? Now you understand. And now come to that, what is padding? What is stride? Okay. So the hyperparameters are over. Okay. So you know, understand what is convolution. So that that operation also you have understood. Next, come to the pooling. What is a pooling operation? So the pooling is performed after immediately of the convolution operation. So immediately you have to apply after convolution. So in a single hidden layer, see here you have a 2 hidden layers. Imagine you have a 2 hidden layers. In a single hidden layer, first it perform the convolution operation and immediately it will perform the pooling operation. So these two combine and you can perform a 1 hidden layer. Suppose you have a 2 hidden layers means the convolution pooling for one and another convolution pooling for another hidden layer, right? So this is a way you have to perform in a CNN. Okay. Next, come to what is pooling. So pooling is nothing but it's a condensed version of the information. Filter reduce some size 5x5, it's reduced into 4x4. But that 4x4 also has that 4x4 also has some important features, right? So what you have to do, you have to eliminate the unwanted pixels in the 4x4. So still you are having some unwanted pixels. So that is the reason immediately you have to apply the pooling, because still you are having some unwanted pixels in your field after convolution. So again, you are doing a condensed information. So this 4x4, I'm going to reduce as a 2x2. This 4x4, I'm going to reduce as a 2x2. So that we call it as a pooling operation. How I'm going to reduce the size? You have a different kinds of pooling, max pooling, average pooling. Okay, maximum you are using a max pooling. Now I'll give you an example. See here, after convolution, I'm having a 12x12 matrix. After convolution, see here, this image represents after convolution. So after convolution, I'm having a 12x12 matrix. See, in this 12x12 matrix, I have some unwanted pixels, right? So how I'm going to remove? So what is the size of my pooling operation? 2x2 window. Here I have taken a 2x2 window for pooling operation. So see here, how many 2x2 you are going to apply in this image? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 2x2 you are going to apply. Okay, 6 2x2 you are going to apply. And finally, you are having a 6x6 matrix. See here, the original size after convolution operation is 12x12 matrix. After applying your pooling operation, your matrix size is reduced, condensed, and it becomes a 6x6 matrix values. But you still the features are maintained. See here, the same 7 is maintained. It still remove the unwanted pixels. So that is the reason for applying a pooling. Okay. So pooling, how it performs? You apply the 2x2. Here there is no that blue pixels. So just leave it. And second, it will take the second 2x2. Now you have a blue pixels. Okay. So it will take that blue pixel alone. And third, you have the blue pixel. So that pixel you have to take. And 4, 5. So in the first row, it will skip the first one. Okay. And second row, it's a fourth one. Fourth one will have one. Fourth pooling only having the 1 pixel, so that it will take. So after that, the 12x12 matrix, you're getting a 6x6 matrix values, right? So this is a way you have to apply for a pooling operation. See, in your usual example in image processing, it's a Lena image. Here, the main reason is filter is what? You are extracting the edges from the image. After extracting the edges, you can identify the shape of the face. Why you are extracting the edges? Because here I want to identify the shape of the face. So this is your original image. You are applying a filter. At the end of the step, see, you are extracting the edges of the image. From that edges, that edges we call it as a feature maps, right? So based on the feature maps only, I'm going to recognize a face, whether it is a Lena face or it is a cameraman face and whatever it is. So based on the feature map only, I'm going to classify. So these operations I'm going to apply in a convolution and pooling. So convolution and pooling generates what? Strong edges. So convolution and pooling generates what? Here the strong edges are detected and it is stored in the feature map, right? I think you have understand everything. Why convolution here? So now the features are ready. See here, my features are ready. So what you have to do? You apply in a fully connected network. What is the next step? My features are ready. So you have to apply in a fully connected network, right? So see the picture of CNN, how the machine is learned here. You are giving an input. Okay, it is an input layer, right? And first step is what? Convolution. How can I perform the convolution? Convolution and pooling. Convolution and pooling, it's a one combination, right? So it is in a one hidden layer. And another, again, I'm repeating the convolution and pooling. It is in the next hidden layer. So you have a two hidden layers. Okay. Hidden layer processing is over. Next, after hidden layer, what you have the feature maps, right? That feature maps you're going to apply in a fully connected network. So fully connected network, what it perform, it will recognize the face, because already in your data set you have so much of faces. So now you have the feature maps. So you compare the feature map and you best understand whose face it is. So finally, the output of your network gives some probability value of a Lena or cameraman and everything. Okay, you have different categories of faces, right? So it gives the probability value of the each face. And finally, which probability is more? So it is Lena phase is more. So this image belongs to the Lena phase. This is the final conclusion you are going to derive from the network, right? Okay. So this is the structure of your CNN classification. And ReLU, already you know that each layer you need some activation function. So hidden layer use what activation function here? ReLU activation function, right? And now I'm discussing what is flatten. So what is flatten? As I told earlier, flatten is nothing but it convert your pooled feature map. Okay, you convert your pooled feature map into a single column. See here, the image contains a single column. So you are converting your feature map into a single column and pass it on to the fully connected network. That we call it as a flatten, right? So flatten is nothing but what? It's nothing but your feature map, it's converted into a fully connected network in a single column. So that step we call it as a flatten. Okay. So now here see that. So now the features are learned through convolution process and your dimensionality is reduced. See, you have at the end of this first step, I'll show in the last slide how the dimensions are reduced. So here the dimensionality is reduced based on the pooling, right? I think you have understand the concept of CNN. And now come to the applications. So what are the different applications you are in use CNN, right? In real-time data. See here. See here, actually the breast cancer. Actually, this case is missed by the radiologist. It's a mammogram picture. It was missed by some radiologist, but the CNN networks is detected the minute part of the cancer in the breast. So this is one of the example in real-time situation. Okay, how CNN performs here. So it isn't a part of artificial intelligence, right? Actually, it was missed by the radiologist, missed by the human. But the CNN networks identify the exact position of the pixel in the breast. So that is a main advantage of it. So CNN, it's used in a breast cancer screening. Okay. And see here, another example. So the first one is a detection. And the second one, you can apply a CNN for semantic segmentation. Semantic segmentation means it will segment the particular pixels and assign into a certain class. That we call it as a semantic segmentation. That means, see here, some objects are detected and it identify what object it is. It is an object detection, right? So see here, the cows are detected, sorry, and is classified as a cow. Okay, and the green portions are detected and it is classified as a green area. So here this kind of application you can use in a fully CNN networks, right? So here you can apply a downsampling, upsampling operations. These operations are comes under image processing. So CNN, it is not only for a network, it is mixed with image processing. Okay, so that is the main reason CNN is applied for computer vision task. So computer vision task means basically you need a image processing applications, right? Image processing operations. And now see here, you can apply in a biomedical image analysis. So see brain tumors. You can easily detect the brain tumors, right? At what portion it is affected. And the malarial infection. So that is also you can identify using this CNN networks, right? And see some automatic self-driving car. In automatic self-driving car, it actually it makes a decision for end to end. What decision it makes? See here, and in this car, just it wants to turn, right? So see the route map. Actually, your camera in a car, it's aligned with the GPS, right? See here, that is a routed map. So here it want to take a decision because you have a 3 roads. Your car should move in which direction? So it want to make some decision. So that decision is taken by CNN network. See how it performs. So it is a one kind of feature, whether your car is moving straight or it turns left or it turns right. So it want to make a decision at the end point, right? So here the feature is extracted based on the route map. Then your car moves in the left side. So this is a way. So in that end to end, it takes a decision. So this decision is taken by the CNN. So these are all the sample applications in the real-time situations, right? Without any human intervention. That is a very important thing. Okay. So without any human intervention, your model detects the minute part in your image. Okay. So now we come to that. Again, I'm going to discuss your fashion and MNICT data set. See here. Now the architecture is differs. So now the architecture is differs. Okay. See, how many input layers? The same 28 into 28 input layers, right? No change in input. And how many output layers? Actually, that is missing in my PPT. The same output layer. So that is also no difference. So here, which one is differs? You are placing a 2 hidden layers, right? So each layer performs a convolution and pooling operation. So here I'm put in a different sections. The first convolution layer, what is the size? And the second convolution layer, what is the size? Okay. So before discussing, see the picture and then we come back to that. What is the original size of the picture here? 28 into 28, right? After convolution, that is convolution, you are going to reduce the size of the image with 24 cross 24. Okay. How I'm going to reduce? Because my filter size is 5 cross 5. You understand? Okay. So now I'm applying a patch. Just applying a patch for one neuron, 5 cross 5. So similarly, you have to apply a filter and you can get a 224 cross 24 matrix. So 28 into 28 is reduced into 24 into 24 after convolution. So now the pixel size 784 is reduced into 576 after convolution. You understand? Okay. Next. How many filters I'm going to apply for hidden layer? First hidden layer, 32 filters. See, not only a single filter, because you have a lot of features, right? You have a straight, you have a curve shape, and you have a rectangle shape. So you have a lot of facial features. So I'm going to apply a single filter. It's not enough to handle in a full image, right? So I'm going to apply 32 filters for the same 28 cross 28 image. Okay, see here, 28 cross 28 image. It will generate the output of 24 cross 24 for 32 filters. You understand here? Not a single filter. The final output of the convolution layer is 24 into 24 for 32 filters, right? So that is the answer. So then, so that is a hidden layer neurons. So much of neurons are needed in a hidden layer, right? Okay. See, this is the entire architecture. So just you have an image size of 28 into 28. This 28 into 28, first hidden layer, first convolution technique. What is it? 24 into 24. For how many filters? you have a 32 filters. After applying a convolution, immediately you are doing a pooling, right? So what happened to the pooling? Again, it condensed your information. So this 24 into 24, it's again reduced into 12 into 12. For how many filters? 32 filters, right? So these two belongs to the first hidden layer. You understand? Now your original 28 into 28 is reduced into 24 into 24 into 32. And again, it is condensed into 12 into 12 into 32. Okay. The first hidden layer operation is over. Next. In my task, I'm going to apply another hidden layer. So what is the size of the second one thing? This 12 cross 12 into 32, you applied into 8 cross 8. 8 cross 8 for one filter. But in second hidden layer, I'm having a 64 filters. So for, as I told earlier, first hidden layer, you are using 32 filters. Second hidden layer, I'm going to use 64 filters. So that 8 cross 8 into 64. You understand? Convolution for second hidden layer is 8 cross 8 into 64. Now again you apply the pooling operation. So again it will condense. So 4 cross 4 into 64. Okay. So this is the way you have to apply your convolution and pooling. So now see totally how many neurons for fully connected network. Anyone please say? Totally finally how many neurons for a fully connected network? Please answer. So, and okay, I'm ready to answer. 4 into 4, 64. 4 into 4, 64 is 1024 neurons. Finally, your feature maps. This is your feature map. So, the feature maps contains 1024 pixels. 1024 pixels, right? This 1024 pixels, that is, how can I get this 1024? At the end of hidden layer, you have a 4 into 4 into 64, right? So 1024 pixels, I'm going to apply in my fully connected network. So based on the 1024, I'm going to classify my data, whether the person is Abraham Lincoln or whether the person is Lena or whether the person is a cameraman or anything, right? So I hope everyone, you understand the convolution process. Now you come to the architecture. See here again, I show my architecture. First input layer 28 into 28, and first convolution layer. You are applying what size of the filter? 5 cross 5. And how many filters you are applying? 32 filters. So hidden neuron is here. For how many hidden neurons? 24 into 24 for 32 filters. Okay. And stride 1. Just you are moving row one by one. And padding same. Yes, because I'm going to use a shrinking size only, not the exact size of the original image, because at the end of the convolution operation, you have only 1024 pixels. You are not keeping the original size. So padding is same. Okay. And come to the convolution layer 2. Filter size is 5 cross 5. How many filters you are applying? 64 filters. And how many hidden neurons? 8 into 8 into 64. And stride is 1 and padding is same. I hope that you have understand the architecture of CNN. Now see how the same fashion MNICT data set, it's work for CNN, right? You now come to that implementation part. Okay. So the same program, that is the reason I'm going to give the same program, because you can compare your accuracy, right? The same TensorFlow on Keras. See here, again, I'm loading a fashion MNICT data set. You are separating in the same ratio, 3:1 ratio. So 75% for training and 25% for testing. And here I'm giving a class name, same thing, t-shirt, top, trouser, and giving a class names. Now I'm doing one pre-processing. So what is the pre-processing here? What is the size of the training image? It is a 28 into 28 for 60,000 images. So what is the pixel range? It is a grayscale image. As I told you earlier, it is a grayscale image. So grayscale image means your pixel values are ranges from 0 to 255. Now, as I told you earlier, before entering into a network, you have to do some pre-processing. The one thing is, it is purely a mathematical model. So you convert into a new numbers. Anything, any type, you have to convert into a numbers. First step, and second step, you have to scale down your value, or you have to normalize your value. So that is an important thing. Suppose if you have a bigger value, means you have to minimize your value. Then only you can easily multiply and sum everything, because you're going to apply only a mathematical operations, multiplication and addition, right? So here I'm going to reduce the pixel value. Okay, because your pixel values, it's from 0 to 255, right? Now this 0 to 255, it is scaled down into 0 to 1. It is scaled down into 0 to 1. How I am going to scaling here? Just you divide the pixel by 255. Just you divide the pixel by 255. See one example, if your marks is 90, I want to convert into a scale 0 to 1. So what you have to do, just 90 divided by 100, you can get 0.9. So this is the same way you're going to apply. So your pixel value is divided by the maximum pixel value. What is the maximum pixel value? 255. So now your pixel value is scaled from 0 to 1. Okay. The same thing you can apply in the test images also. Okay. So now you create a sequential model. Yeah, as I told you earlier, you have to, everything you put in a sequential class. And how many hidden layers? 2 hidden layers, right? First, you come to the first hidden layer. In hidden layer, you have a convolution operation and max pooling operation. Okay. So convolution operation, how many filters you are using? 32 filters. What is the filter size of the window? 5 cross 5. What is the window filter size of the window? 5 cross 5. And what is the activation function you are going to apply? ReLU activation function. And what is the input shape? 28 cross 28. You understand? So the input size is 28 cross 28. And the first convolution layer is for filter is 5 cross 5 and applying for 32 filters. Next, after convolution, you're applying a pooling operation. What is the size of the pooling you have taken? 2 cross 2. Okay, so that is the thing you have to mention. Okay, first hidden layer is over. Next, come to the second hidden layer. Second hidden layer, how many filters are required? 64 filters are required. And what is the size of the filter? Again, you are using a 5 cross 5 filters, right? Activation function is ReLU, right? Again, you apply immediately you have to apply what operation? Pooling operation, 2 cross 2. So now the 2 hidden layers are over. So here what you obtain? The feature maps with 1024 pixels, right? That you have seen in the example. That 1024 pixels you are going to apply in a fully connected network, right? See here, that is this thing we call it as a flatten. As I told you earlier, flatten is nothing but the group of pixels you are going to give for a single column. And how many classes you are going to classify? Because you have 10 items, right? In the output layer, how many layers? How many classes here? 10 items. So this is your output layer. What is this? At the end, you have a output layer. Okay. As usual, what is your optimizer? Stochastic gradient descent, loss, metrics, and everything. And again, you go for a training with the 10 epochs. And finally, you test your image. See how is your accuracy. See the accuracy. Accuracy is 87%. What is in the previous accuracy? Without CNN, in your traditional network, what is your accuracy you're having? some 70%, right? Hmm, 76%. So in your traditional network, you're having only 76% of accuracy. But the same data set you have applied for CNN, and you can get the accuracy of 86%. See here how the accuracy is improved, 86%, right? 86%. Now 87. So what is accuracy here? 87. So 10% of accuracy is suddenly changed from your traditional to a deep learning, right? And now see the model of your network. See here, first hidden layer. How many hidden layers? 24 into 24 into 32. So you have 832 weights. And convolution, 12 into 12 for 32, right? And second hidden layer, 12 is 12 changed into 8 into 8. And again 8 into 8 is changed into 4 into 4 for 64 filters, right? And flatten is your fully connected. So what is the total features? 1024 features. How can you get this 1024? 4 into 4 into 64. So that is your total number of pixels, that is in the 1024, right? And finally in our output layer, you classify into a 10 different items, right? So that is in your output layer. So totally how many weights? You add everything, 62,346 weights for this data set. So totally you have a 62,346 weights needed this neural network architecture. So manually it is not possible. Okay, imagine you are handling a 70,000 images. So manually it is not possible. Anyhow, human is better than everything, right? But it is not manually possible for training a huge data. So that is a reason for training your data through a machine, right? So now, just again, I want to increase my accuracy. How adjusting my network, right? See here. What is the main difference? Now I'm changing the filter size. See here, I'm changing the filter size for the first output layer, for the first hidden layer. The 32 filters I'm applying with 3x3 filters. Now see the accuracy, just it increases a little bit. See, 88%. So I'm adjusting the filter. Now so in the previous example, you're getting 87%. Now I'm getting 88%. So see, again I'm adjusting. For second hidden layer, I'm using a 3x3 filter. Okay. Now see my accuracy is reduced, not increasing. So all time your accuracy is not increased, right? So just you alter something, whether it is fit for your model. So based on that only you can identify your model structure, right? So now the accuracy is reduced. Okay. So this is a way you have to adjust your parameters and you can get the better accuracy of your model. Hope everyone you understand. I think now I stop here. So now I have compared your CNN with your traditional and with your metrics also, right? So now I stop my session. Please, any doubt you ask in the chat.
Participants, if you have any query, you can ask.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Ma'am, this is Parthasarathi, and I have one small
Yes,
doubt.
sir.
Ma'am. The session was really good, and I have only one small doubt. That is, in
Yes, sir.
traditional method, if we are increasing the number of epoch, is it possible to
Yes.
increase the accuracy, ma'am?
Definitely, sir. Not only the epochs.
Okay.
Actually, in the second CNN,
Yes.
CNN, you are doing some pre-processing, right? I'm
Yes,
dividing
ma'am.
with
Yes.
255.
245.
The
Yes,
same
ma'am.
same pre-processing you apply
Okay.
in a tradition. Now see the
Okay.
accuracy. It is
Okay.
changed
Okay.
into
Okay.
88%. So you can adjust.
Okay.
Sometimes the
Okay.
traditional also works well compared to CNN. So that is also you can anything you can do in your network. So it is possible.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And one more small doubt, ma'am. So
Yes, sir.
initially, when you are showing the Keras database, we have
Hmm.
4 files. We have 4 files.
Yes.
Actually, when you are
Yes.
downloading, actually, I'm new to this field. When you are downloading from the normal from internet, whether we will be
Yes.
having these 4 database or we will be having one single database with 70,000 samples.
Yeah, that is also can do. In the previous one we have did right, but that is
Yes, ma'am.
actually that's problem is sir. It is actually there is a problem because you can keep 70,000 images in a one single file. That is right. But the training labels you have that labels, right? That
Yes, yes,
labels
ma'am.
you should keep only in a separate file because
Yes,
your pixel value will be altered. So
yes, yes,
don't
ma'am.
keep images and labels in a single file. Definitely it will not
Okay,
work. So right.
okay,
So that is
okay,
an important thing. So you keep
okay,
your image in one separate file and keep your labels in another separate file. Then only you can compare the image with the respective labels. Okay.
okay,
So
okay.
minimum 2 files is needed.
Yes, yes, that
Yes.
is my small doubt, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so
Yes,
much,
sir.
ma'am. You gave a very great insight in deep learning and also in convolutional neural network. Surely, with this
Yes.
knowledge, we are able to proceed in our research, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And uh, how to
Is there
set the
any
flattening?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, some of you asked. Yes, sir.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Ebin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a doubt. Is there any relation between accuracy of a model and activation function?
Activation function. Yes, sir. Surely, because each one is related. Your accuracy depends on activation function. Your accuracy depends on optimizer. Your accuracy depends on epochs. So each one is related. So that is the main thing. So
Okay.
again and again, I'll repeatedly telling you, you have to understand the basic concepts. Without knowing the knowledge of a theory concept, you cannot able to enter into a neural network. Repeatedly, I'm telling, you have to know what are all the parameters are available and why the parameters are useful for networks. So everything you have to know the basic concepts, right? Then only you can adjust your network because it is just simply a command. Okay, but within the command you have a lot of operations, right? So you have to know the basic things. Each factor will affect your network, will affect your accuracy, whether it is in increasing or in a decreasing, right? So this is a way each parameter or hyperparameters is essential for your network. I think, and some of you ask how
Okay,
to
ma'am. Thank you.
determine the pooling size. Yes, sir. How to determine the pooling size? So it is also a trial and basis. See here, the same program I'm going to show in the 5 different types. First one, normal network. Second one, CNN network. And third one, the size of the filter for first layer. And the fourth one, the size of the filter for second layer, right? And the fifth one, sometimes you without pre-processing, what is your accuracy? So you can do in a different way. Similar thing, your max pooling is also, it's a trial and error. You apply for first 2x2, or you can apply for 3x3. Suppose if you have an accuracy of better than 2x2, you keep it as a 3x3. So it's only a trial and error. Okay. And another question is
Question.
when to use shallow network and when to use deep network. The one thing is shallow network is also fit for your current data. See, in the previous example, I'm not doing any pre-processing in the first one. But when I'm applying a pre-processing, definitely accuracy is increased. So this data set, it's also suitable for traditional as well as suitable for CNN also. It depends on the accuracy only. Whether you can go a traditional model or a deep learning model, you can go anything but the main important factor is accuracy and loss. So based on that only you can go in a different way, right? I think flattening multiple images. How to set the flattening for multiple? Actually, flattening is nothing but the feature image, feature maps, the total pixels of the features, right? The same thing. If now you have seen for a grayscale, right? You apply for grayscale. Suppose if you have a RGB image, so RGB image now you have a change into convolution 3D. Here you have applied for 2D. You have applied for a convolution 3D. The same procedure you are applying. So finally, you're getting a total set of features. Okay. So that we call it as a feature map. Same principle, you can go for RGB. There is no change, right? What can be other metrics to access our CNN? Yeah. What can be the other metrics are confusion matrix, confusion, how many images are correctly classified, right? So you can use that matrix also. From that confusion matrix, you can find out the recall, precision, true positives, true negatives, right? False positive. So these are all the metrics you can get from the confusion matrix. And also you can plot the ROC curves, right? So these are the other metrics you can use it for CNN. Someone asked, its significance have 75% for training and 25% for testing. See, everything it's a trial. 100% you can go for training, 100% you can go for testing. But don't go for 30% of training and 70% for testing. It's not a good training. So again and again, I repeatedly telling, give more training for your network and you can get a better accuracy. So it's not a ratio, some maximum percentage for training. See, I'm giving example. Suppose I'm having a student marks. I'm giving trials only for 20. The minimum criteria for pass is 40, right? But I'm giving a samples only for 20, 30, and everything, right? And for pass category, I'm giving a data for 50, 60, and whatever it is. Now the machine is well trained. Okay. Suppose, see, I'm giving a 39. What is your net result of your data? So what your machine predicts, whether it comes under pass or whether it comes under fail. So your machine is not well trained for 39 because your machine is trained only for 30 category, below 30 category, and it is a machine trained for above for 50 category. But what happened to your, because we are all humans, so we know the criteria for pass and everything, but your machine does not know the criteria of pass and fail. So because you have to train your machine. So what you have to do at the training stage, you give a training for 39 and you give a training for 41. Then only your machine understand the criteria for passes 40, right? So 39 you train for fail and 41 for pass means automatically your machine understand the criteria of passes 40. So your training is very important stage. You give a random samples. In statistics, we call it as a random sampling. Don't give us same kind of data. You give a random amount of data. Then only your machine trained well and give a better accuracy, right? So this is a way for training. Since we use 60,000 for training, to please explain. Yes. One asked the same ratio, 60,000, why 10,000, the same. Actually, it is a measure for training. It's not actually in the, it is a standard data set, right? Fashion MNICT is a standard data set. So they have a 60,000 for training and 10,000 for testing, right? So I have used that same concept. But in the real time, you have a thousands of data alone, right? You can go for your own training method. So same kind of technology, same kind of pattern you need not use. So it depends upon your network. You can use it 500 for training and 500 for testing and 750 for training and 250 for testing. It depends upon your problem only. Okay. And definitely training and testing will improve your accuracy. Definitely. It's a sure. Does the size of the data set depend on the type of network? Yes. Each and every factor will affect your network. The size, type of data, type of parameters, type of hyperparameters, everyone will affect your network. Okay. Okay. I think I've answered all your questions.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
just yeah, one thing before I complete my session, just I'm giving some few tips. Just it will take only 2 minutes. One thing is you have to understand the theory. It's very, very important one thing. Whenever it's not only in a neural network, you can apply any model, any machine learning model. First of all, you have to learn the theory from your hard copy, that is from your book or tutorial or whatever it is. You learn the theory, then only you can apply in a model. Because now the model it's a kind of ready-made. So definitely, see, we have learned a lot of concept, convolution, pooling, filter, condensed and everything. But within a single line, it will perform all the things, right? So we cannot able to learn the entire concept from your program. This complete 70,000 images, it will handle only in 10 lines of coding. So how can I understand the concept? So main reason is you have to understand the theory. It's very, very important. So that is the first important point. And next one thing is, please don't stick on a single tool. Yes, MATLAB is better. Python is better. It supports all type of operation and everything. It's right. But you have a varied options. Suppose you have a simple tool like Weka. Excel is also a tool, analysis, right? So the features, suppose you take a Weka. Weka, it's a simple tool for analyzing your normal data set. So here you need not write any coding. It is only a geo application. So just you select, load the data, you apply the model, and you adjust the parameters. So you need not write any coding. It is simply just a tool only. You select a model, but it will generate a complete report. So which features are important? What is the ranking of the feature? So you can apply any type of feature engineering in Weka. So it is a simple technology, but you have to know the theory, right? So please don't, it will help for your research. So please don't stick on one tool for everything. For visualization, you go for another tool, right? So just go for analyze the various tools and you apply for a research. Definitely it will be in a easier, or your research becomes very easy, right? And next thing is, suppose if you have an unsupervised problem. So now we handle only a supervised problem. Supervised problem means if you have a data as well as label are given. So it is very easy to handle whether my model fits correctly or not. I can easily identify because I have the answers also. So not only the question, I have answers also. So I can easily verify whether the question is perfectly answered or not. But my problem is an unsupervised problem. So unsupervised problem means I can't able to give an answer. So what I have to do, you can do manually. Manually, I know the result of this problem. So you type the features in Excel and you just give a criteria. You have a lot of if conditions, right? You can write an if conditions in Excel and you convert your unsupervised problems into supervised, right? Now the data is altered. Your unsupervised is converted into a supervised problem. Now you apply in a neural network and you verify whether my suggestion is correct or not. So this also you can do in your research. So that is the reason. Don't use one tool for all kind of operations. Okay. So that is my simple suggestion. And yeah, please support book name and other materials. The only thing, actually see, I have taken everything from the net only. I have taken all the codings and all my points in my PPT. Everything I have taken from the net only, right? But I have given in a compiled format. So that is a change only I have to do. Fashion MNICT is there, and the coding part is there, and everything it's in a diabetes data set. Everything is there, and coding is there. Everything it's in the net. Just I have taken and give in a one compiled format, right? But anyone, not for me, no one can explain their own research in an open forum. So just they are giving a model. What you have to do, you apply your model for your own problem. Okay, so no one can completely they explain their own research and their codings. It's not in the open forum. Okay, so what you have to do, just you apply this model in your own problem and you see your accuracy. So which model fits for your data? So it's up to your work, right? So you have a lot of books, SN Deepa. Actually, see here, the SN Deepa it's for ANN, because in SN Deepa, at the end of each chapter, so at the end of each chapter, they work manually. How epoch is performed. Each step is it's given as an example. So better you can choose it for a neural network. And other tutorial is also better. Tutorial point. For every subject, you can use a tutorial point. It will be very easy. And yeah, I think I have cleared all your doubts. So one suggestion here, actually it is a very pandemic situation, right? We have a lot of issues mentally, physically, and everything. It's right, but just you spend an hour for research. Yeah. Daily we have a new problems and everything. So our problem never solved. So please don't think of it. So how can I concentrate my research? So that is not thing. You spend it for 1 hour per day, because it gives some positive energy, right? Suppose you imagine, usually it happens when you're writing a one program, you're having a result, the total day gives some happiness, right? It gives some positive energy, so that you please concentrate on your research in a daily basis. You work it on it, not only for scholars. It's not only for scholars. After completing your PhD also, you can do your research. You take some data and you learn something, and you create and you put in a model and you get a result and you write an article. So it is also one kind of research, right? So please work regularly and learn deeply. Okay, so thank you for giving this opportunity for St. Joseph College management, principal, and everybody, for organizing, team members also. And also I thank the participants, staff members, scholars, and students. Thank you for my session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful session as well as very interactive. I hope the participants really enjoyed the session very much. Thank you once again, ma'am, for your
Sir.
In spite of your busy schedule, you are spending your valuable time with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, participants.